Space rock. When you are on the space rock, you would expect to be able to look around and see plenty of stars, since you are so far from anything else. But you can't. No. When you look at the sky, all you can see is total darkness. Nothing as far as the eye can see until sunrise. Yes, there is still a star here, but it does not give you any comfort. For though there is a star near to this rock, it glows dark red like innocent blood that has been spilt for no good reason. If that wasn't enough, when the sun does shine, almost everything is still in shadow for the mountains. Oh, the mountains and all other rocks in this forsaken place. They are bare and offer no protection. If you ever get a good look at them, they are very close together and have many caves in them as they loom over you with a malice that only ice-cold stone can bear. But you must keep moving. There is one gap and you must make for it. Nothing grows here, nothing at all, and you can't blame them. For what but by unhappy chance would come here? You have traveled through these dark and barren lands for days now and are losing hope. Rocks, mountains, and crevices for miles with little to no light. The sun is setting now, and it gets worse, for you can begin to hear them coming over the horizon. Screams. Screams of agony and lonesomeness, like a rabid dog that has been beaten and left in the cold. The temperature starts to decline, as if it weren't cold enough. The sun finally sets as you reach a high point in a great climb. There's nothing but rock for miles and miles. Again, the heavens give no beauty, and even if you could see something, it would surely be contempt. However, when you look to the horizon, you can see something. This space rock is small enough that the sun, when it sinks to the other side, casts light up from below and along the rim. It looks like fire and water. Not that that is at all comforting. You must keep moving now, for the screams have begun again after a long and eerie silence. Darkness falls and you can barely see your own hands, but after so long you get used to it. However, you still wish for dawn with all your heart, not that it will be an improvement. You begin to look for a cave, though you know that in every black hole you will expect a pair or more of gleaming red eyes, like rubies of hatred, staring through you from the darkness, searching for fears to feed on. As you shudder at the thought, so does the very ground upon which you stand. You clutch at what you can as the rock itself tries to devour you. The sun rises, and though it is dark light that shines on your face, you can see the silhouette of your destination. As the quake stops, so the screams die down into the shadows that engulf everything. The ledge you stand on is the only thing with a bit of light on it, and you would rather stay there if it weren't for the cave behind you. Regretfully, you continue on down the other side of the mountains. You must make for your only chance for escape. The last person here told you of a fortress of olden times, when things used to be all right around here. There always seemed to be at least one person on this rock, just long enough to scare the next. It seemed that the space rock would drag people to their deaths. The old kook must have been here a long time to continually babble the same phrase over and over about some fortress on the other side and hope. After you arrived, he didn't last long. There is no way to know exactly what happened to him, but it was most likely something to do with the screams. Though you've never seen what makes the noises, it can only be something horrible. Not knowing how the old man became a pile of bones and ripped up flesh is almost worse than knowing on the space rock. As you make your way towards the fortress, the sun begins to set. Everything becomes dark. The old fortress looks more menacing and less hopeful with every step. You thought you were cold until another scream sends chills down your spine and to the end of every nerve. That was too close. You look down and see that what you thought were dark rocks are bottomless pits. You begin to run, and when you look back, you see there are small points of red light at the end of the field you just crossed. More screams continue until the quakes start again. As you almost fall into a hole, you can see that the sun is coming up. When the quakes stop, you slowly realize that the only shadow is now cast by the fortress, and that there are two spikes of light at either side of it. Weeds. Yes, weeds. At this point, you are glad just to see a thorny vine until you realize that they are slightly moving. Again, you run. Almost to the fortress, you look back, and just for a moment you think you can see someone very tall standing there across the field. Then something you never expected to see happens. The sun shines on the field, completely lighting it up. For a moment, you begin to hope again and think that there might be a chance for survival. The tall figure is no longer there. You wonder if it is at all possible that your co-pilot survived. When the two of you first crashed on the space rock, you thought you could save your partner. Shadows do not fade on this planet. Like embers of a once great fire that has a chance to spark a new flame but doesn't, your partner lingered on in pain until at last the screams were first heard. Not knowing things on this forsaken rock is worse than knowing. Suddenly, the light that made you hope is devoured by the mountains and you are left in darkness. It will soon be night again, and this brings despair. At last you reach the fortress. It is more menacing than the mountains, but if someone had the technology to survive here even for a little while, they must have been able to make a communication device. A ship was too much to hope for on the space rock. You see a light in the tower, but like the sun, it brings no comfort. You enter the fortress and see that it has been deserted for ages beyond count. You wonder about and see many things. Some you wish you never did. You check your oxygen tanks, only to become depressed. Finally, you see something that you have never been so glad to see. A communication device. You move toward it with hope that you might survive, but when you touch it, it turns to dust. In utter despair, you wander about the fort for some time. It must be the middle of the night by now. When you find a small gem, you don't know how to respond. You just look at it for a while. Then it happens, what you dreaded from the beginning. Hands as cold as death reach out and grab you as the screams begin again. You hear yourself scream and look back to see blood-red eyes filled with malice and control of the arms, now dragging you into the shadows. Quakes begin again, and that means that the sun is coming up, but this brings no comfort as you are pulled into the depths of shadow. What they will do to you is unknown, but on this planetoid, not knowing is worse than knowing. It's hard to think that this was once Earth.